All right, what's up, everyone? This is Sut from PriceIsKing.com. Let's take a look at Tesla. We're going to be taking a deep dive into the technical analysis of Tesla, see what's going on, where we stand, what's happening in the next few days into the weeks. We're going to look at it from a technical perspective, see what's going on. So this is what you're looking at right now. This is a yearly, daily chart, and what we're seeing is a whole bunch of things, right? So we have our RAM indicator on the purple line. These are the daily charts. I think the last analysis that I did, I had put in the fibs, and as you can see, it did hit the 50, and when it hit the 50, it came down, right? So that's what's seeing, right? What you're looking at in the screen right now, and then we got to look at what's happening, where we're going to go in the next few days. A lot of news came out with Tesla in regards to where the company is going, what they're doing, firing people, right? So a lot of that stuff I'm going to keep out of this discussion. We're going to talk about the technical aspect of it. So let me just remove all these Fibonacci stuff because we don't need to look at it now. All right, so this is a daily chart. What you're looking at right here, the purple line, is our RAM indicator. Normally, if you've been following us, you'll know that when it starts trading above the RAM, it's going to go up for a short period of time. When it crosses below, it'll go down. And then I also have the Bollinger Bands, right? So one of the things that I look at is, you see the Bollinger Bands, it rises up, touches it, and then comes back down, crosses the mid. But when it touches the lower band, that is when you want to be careful, right? Once it crosses the RAM indicator, it crosses the Bollinger Band, you'll have that idea that, hey, you know what, this could go back up, and it does. There's a lot of things that you can look at as well as support and resistance areas. A lot of the things I don't have on the chart right now because I like to keep it simple. And you can see the continuous pattern, right? RAM indicator goes up, stock goes up, crosses below, goes down, up Bollinger Band, goes back up, touches the top part, comes back down, up, down, and goes down, 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 and then you'll see this up and goes back up, come back down, right? I mean, so this pretty much the pattern. Like when it comes to technical analysis, you have to look at a strategy that works for you and put your risk in place and take it from there. So what we have right now, what is going on? In the last few days, we had it go down as far as down as to 139. Okay. Now, when it did that, if you were following this, you noticed that the Bollinger Band was right around here. It crossed over. Next day, there was a pop because of the news. Went above the RAM indicator, went up to the top of the Bollinger Band, came back down. Now the mid band held it in. The mid band on the Bollinger Band held it in. At the same time, our proprietary Mac Pro has indicated that it's going to actually go back up. Right. So the next few days, we're looking at this crossing above the zero line, and when that happens, today is probably a good day for a buying opportunity. If you're a short-term investor, the next few days you want to take a few bucks, this would be a great place to take that. Right? You can go ahead and take that long, and you should be able to exit somewhere around the 90s, right? So that's about a good $20, give or take, profit that you can look at. Now, one thing I want to caution is the fact that we have been doing lower lows, lower low here, lower low here, lower low here, right? It continues to make these lower lows. Now, when this trend breaks, obviously that is when it's going to go back up, but you have to keep in mind, you have these lower lows, and it continues to print. And when that happens, there's a chance that it may continue to go down. But in the short term, there may be a few days where it comes back right around here. And at this point, what you would want to do is you want to take some sort of a marker and say, all right, you know what, let's take a look. We have a price right around here that could be pretty much resistant. You have another level right around here that could be a resistant marker. You do have this one, but I would say you can actually, what I would like to do usually is, because when I see something like this and when I see another area, I generally like to box it up and kind of give it a gray area. So within this area, when it does come back up, you probably want to take an exit if you're long for short-term gains, right? Because you want to watch this area. It'll go ahead and try to attract to this area and then bring itself down as because of this lower lows that we're printing. It may be just another area where it reaches up and then goes back down. Now, that's from a technical perspective. If it crosses above this, and if it actually crosses this line, which is the 204, whatever, 205 area, then we're looking for the next leg up, which is going to be all the way up here, right? And that is where it's going to ultimately navigate towards the 264. Okay, that is if it crosses this area. Okay, so be mindful of that. And if it doesn't, if it goes up to this, bounces up to this area, and then gets rejected, we're looking at a further downward pressure, and that's most likely what's going to happen. And the other factor to look at is you want to look at the volume. Right, what's going on, where the bars are. The average, look at this. You see there's not much really heavy buying activity or heavy selling activity. Maybe one days you'll get spikes like this. You'll get spikes over here. When you notice that happen, you have to keep an eye on where it's actually going. And the trend right now seems to be a downward, right? You have this flag. If you take a step back, you'll see this flag forming. And you want to know whether it goes up, if it's going to break the flag upwards, or is it going to break the flag downwards. That's all a question, right? And you can actually draw your trend lines and identify it. But right now, what I'm looking at, and generally from experience with Tesla, you're going to have this downward pressure, and then there's going to be a big splat up. And then if you look at, volume, it's been tapering down. Right? When you see that volume is tapering down, you're going to start seeing prices go down. Right? So now you have to make sure that this crosses above the zero line. If it does, it's going to continue its way up. And if it doesn't, and reverses course, like for example over here, it reverses course, right? Then you know that it's not over, and it's possible that it's going to continue a downward trend. Okay, so that's what's going on. I think in the next few days, keep an eye on Tesla. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back up into the 90s, 190. That is, there's a few dollars that you can actually make if you're a short-term, not an intraday trader, but a swing trader. That's an opportunity for you to take profits. Now, on the downside, where are you looking at? Right, so we have a couple of support areas. That's one, and then this is the other. Right, so when you're looking at your risk markers, you want to be able to identify where your support areas are going to be, and there's other ways. I do have pivots and whatnot, so I do tend to add those, but they do clutter your charts, right? So if you want to add pivots, weekly, daily, and monthly pivots, make sure you add them to your chart, just so you can identify where the pivots are. And those are a great way to actually put your support and resistance areas, right? So that's a great way to do it. So that's one way. Now, the other thing that I wanted to point out is, okay, where else can I identify good support areas? Just like how I have this rectangular box on the support areas. I made this little area or this price point as a support area, but I also noticed that you have all these little wicks, and then you have areas where it bounces off. So generally what I end up doing is I actually create a big rectangular area that kind of gives you a general idea, because it's not going to exactly stop on this dotted line. It may not exactly stop on a specific candle. It never works that way, because the algos they determine where stop orders are, where people they try to automatically stop people out, and then when you see a whole bunch of orders, you can actually take a look at what's going on. And I want to show you an example. Give me 1 second here. One of the things that I wanted to show you what I use is I use this thing called BookMap, and I'm going to actually port it into here so you guys could see what BookMap looks like. So on the BookMap, you can actually see where the trades are being made, where the orders are. You can see there's 175.46, and remember how I said there could be some support areas and resistance areas. Well, how can you identify that, right? And BookMap does a really good job when it comes to trying to find out where the orders are and whatnot, right? And as you can see over here, if I were to scroll up and scroll down, all these bars you'll start seeing are resistance areas where a lot of orders are being placed. And then your support area, 160, 150. All right, so if you were to go ahead and take a look on the chart, so 160 right here, right, and 150, that's exactly what happened, right? So 160, 150, you'll see there's a lot of orders right around here. 160 right here, then you got 180, somewhere around 185, all right? So somewhere around 185, you got some resistance right around here, which is on the top of this, right, in this area, right? But then let's take a look on the further up. Look at this, 200. This big red bar has got a lot of orders. So when the price reaches that, it's going to touch it. They're going to fill those orders and boom, come back down. So 200 is like an area which I have marked somewhere around here. You see this? 198 to 204. This area, I've already marked it. And as you can see just by looking at it right here, this is a big area where there's a lot of orders right around here that can prevent the price from going up. All right. So bookmark is another great way that you can use to find out support and resistance areas, and as they're trading, right, on a daily basis, when you're trying to day trade, it's a good indication of where you can actually get in and get out. I highly recommend you taking a look at it. Well, that's it for today. This is an analysis on Tesla, TSLA. Please let me know your thoughts, what you think about what's happening with Tesla, where it's going in the next few days. Make sure you hit that subscribe because it does help the YouTube algorithms, and make sure you hit that like button. So I really appreciate that. Lastly, if you are looking for NinjaTrader data, make sure you check out PriceIsKing.com, where you can get real data for replay on the NinjaTrader 8 platform. Thank you for watching. PriceIsKing.com.